I saw the lights flicker, and when that happened, I said, "Damn it! I know the internet is going out," and that's pretty much what happened there. So once again, I apologize for that, but I'm going to go ahead and restart this because I really want everybody to kind of how can I say it? I don't want you to get caught up in the past or the future. One of the things that I'm really big on, my co-host Aaron Tomlinson and I on Freeology Friday, we talk about this a lot, both on and off the air, about being in the moment, being here now, and that's what I want to talk about. Is we're at the end of 2022, we're coming up on the end of the year, coming up on a new year, and one of the things that people will talk about is they'll talk about endings. They'll talk about for some people, 2022 was a good year and a lot of good things happened. I know for me, many good things happened. This was really a fantastic year for me, but I've also suffered a lot of personal losses. I've had multiple deaths among family and friends that took away some of the joy of the excitement of 2022 and the accomplishments that I had in 2022. So, uh, but the thing is that I started by saying in the previous live stream, I don't believe in happy endings. People will say, we learn stories as a child about happily, and they all lived happily ever after. So what happens is that you have some kind of struggle, some kind of um, uh, challenge or obstacle that's faced, and the protagonists of the story, they overcome this hurdle, and then they go on to something new, something wonderful, something great, and quote unquote, they all live happily ever after, right? And so that is the thing that I want to talk about, is that I don't believe in happily ever after, because ever after it is eternal. There is in time, see, humanity, we see time as linear, we see it as flat, that there's a beginning and that there's an end, but we have never scientifically discerned what is the beginning of time, and we don't know what the end of time is. We have no clue. All we know is moment that we occupy this timeline. And here's the thing about endings, is that endings don't represent finality. They don't represent finality. Endings represent a fork or a transition. That's what endings represent. It's a change, no more and no less. And here's the thing. I use this example and I'm going to use it again. Now, April 4th, 1968, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. But prior to that day, Dr. King was considered to be an enemy of the state. He was under investigation by the FBI. He had many enemies. There were, I think, Newsweek did a poll that found out that 65% of Americans did not approve of him. He was no hero while he was walking the earth. But the assassin's bullet changed the trajectory of this country. It caused this country to reflect on how it handled race relations. And yes, it even changed the trajectory for Dr. King's wife, Coretta Scott King, and his children, Yolanda Martin III, Dexter, and Bernice. It changed the trajectory of their lives. And here's the thing, what Dr. King saw is he was faithful to plant seeds for trees for which he would never eat the fruit nor enjoy the shade of. And one of the things is that we all have a date with death. We don't like to talk about it, we don't like to acknowledge it, but everybody is going to die. That is, life is a sexually transmitted disease with a 100% mortality rate. That is the truth of life. But what we do in this moment what we do in this now will determine what our legacy will be. And it'll determine whether or not we've planted trees that others will enjoy the shade of and the fruit of. See, the thing is that we have to get past the whole selfishness of life where we think that life is just for me. Listen, I'm a firm believer that life is for the living, and that we are here to enjoy this life. However, that a life truly well lived, a life that's truly had all of its essence wrung out of it in this time, that it carries on. See, the thing is that one of two things will happen. Well, actually, one of three things will happen when you die. Then, when you die, no one will speak anything of you. That when you go, that's it, the end. And you don't want to be that guy, that gal. You don't want to be that person that no one speaks anything of, because that means that your life, while it may have had meaning to you, has no lasting significance. But there are some people that they live a life where people are going to speak ill or evil of them. Now, granted, in most cases, you don't want to be that person. But if you live a life of significance, and y'all hear me, that you will have enemies, because no one has enemies who does nothing. But if you do something, there are going to be people that, in spite of your best efforts, in spite of all of your accomplishments, they are going to speak ill of you. And so what? But what you don't want to do is you don't want to leave a legacy of being an asshole behind you. And that's the challenge. So you want to, you don't necessarily want people speaking ill of you, unless they're speaking ill of you because you dared to dream, because you dared to challenge the status quo, because you dared to invent or to create. If people speak ill of you for that, fine, let them talk. But if people are speaking ill of you because you were an asshole, because you were a dick in this lifetime, well, you don't want to be that person. Okay. You don't want to be that person. And the third are the people who speak glowing, flowing, beautiful things about you when you go. Everybody wants to be that guy. But again, as I mentioned earlier, if you dare to dream, if you dare to challenge the status quo, if you dare to create, dare to push the envelope in any way, you're going to have people that speak ill of you. Excuse me. Now, the thing is that is something that happens after you're gone. That the end has occurred for you, but your legacy lives on. And a life well lived is a life of legacy. A life well lived will leave a trace, a remnant of what they've done. And that's the way you want to live. And here's the thing, that if you don't focus on the happy ending, right? Because hear me, you can't do anything about your past. You can't make a happy past out of an unhappy past. And you can't make um, a happy past unhappy. You can't. The past is the past. Once it has transitioned out of the now into the past, it's basically cast in stone. It's archived, and you can't do anything with it. And the future, you really don't know what the future is going to hold, but you can have some control over what your future is going to look like by how you handle your right now. Because every moment in life, every moment, every transition, every outcome is dictated by right now. And so the catch is, don't worry about happily ever after, because if you're living in your right now, being mindful in the moment, handling things as they are right now, then that will help to shape and mold your future. Now, watch this. I think I said this earlier, and maybe on the previous podcast that died, it ended. That in a car, the windshield is an order of magnitude larger than the rearview mirror, because where you're going is far more important than where you've been. However, you can't get too obsessed with the destination and where you're ultimately headed, because if you do that, you'll lose track of the right now. And if something happens in this frame, in this moment, you miss it, and it could cause you to crash. And your ending will come sooner than later. What I'm saying is that we don't want to obsess about the future. We want to be concerned about the future, obviously, because that's why we plan. And we talk about this all the time. Aaron and I, on Phreology Friday, we talk about this, that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Simple as that. So you have to plan. You have to have some idea of what you want to do tomorrow. That's why we make to-do lists. That's why we put together plans to give our goals life, right? But you don't want to be so obsessed with what's downrange that you're missing what's right in front of you. That's the point that I'm getting at. And I don't like the whole idea of happy endings, because it says that I want to get to a point where everything is just going to be rosy from here on out. Life doesn't work that way. If you think about the stories that all end with happily ever after, that there was some challenge, there was some struggle, there was some obstacle to overcome that was in the story, that the protagonist of the story managed to get past that. And then it's like, now they all live happily ever after. No, bullshit. Basically, the happily ever after, the ending just represents the beginning of a new timeline. It's not time. The ending is not a container. It's a pivot. It's a junction. It's a fork in the timeline. And all it does is it just says, okay, now I'm moving from this timeline to that timeline. And there are infinite number of timelines, infinite number of possibilities. And every one of them, see, here's the thing. There's no timeline where you have absolute perfect happiness. That is a purple unicorn. It doesn't exist, right? But there are multiple timelines where you can enjoy greater happiness, more happiness, and you control that timeline by your right now. See, that's the thing. We all have a time that we're going to die, but we don't want to focus on that. We don't want to obsess on that. And even when we have loved ones, and I've been guilty of this myself, that when you get the word that this person, this loved one, that they don't have much time left, well, you get the sense of foreboding, that you're anticipating the end instead of enjoying the moment. And sometimes, don't get me wrong, the moment may not be enjoyable. But the moment may be all you have. It may be that last moment where you're able to exchange some thought, some emotion with this person on this side of life. Don't get caught up in the foreboding about what the future is going to hold. See, in other words, don't get preoccupied with happy endings. Instead, let's work on how do we make happy moments? How do we make this moment, this slice of time, this frame the best that it can be? And when you're doing this, you're recognizing that basically you're the author of your story. And as the author of your story, you are writing your story moment by moment. And because of that, you have the ability to shape what the outcome of the story is going to be. You have the greatest input into that. And so these moments, by all means, shape the moments to your maximum happiness where you can, but also chronicle the moments that are not so happy, and understand that these moments that are not so happy, that this is going to help shape you, harden you, strengthen you, fortify you to handle the next set of challenges. And this is, let me say this too, because this is really important. Failure is neither fatal nor final. That if your failure leaves you with breath in your body, that means you have another opportunity to reshape the next moment. See, there are some people that when something happens, they think, "Oh my God, this is the worst thing," and they check out emotionally, or even worse, they check out physically. And see, the thing is that when you check out physically, that's when the moment does become final. And hear me, I'm speaking from my heart here. And I think somebody needs to hear this. There is nothing worth dying for. Now, those of us who have children may differ. We may beg to differ on that. Because I know for me, I'd take a bullet for any of my kids. So it looks like the Facebook stream just died, and I'm sorry, don't know why that is, but anyway, I guess there's a reason. Well, actually, no, there's not a reason for everything. Some things happen just because. But anyway, I want to thank you for joining. And you know, let me see. Let's I'll go through some of the comments here because there are some comments on TikTok. You are loved by God, my friends. He made you fearfully and wonderfully. Jesus is the only way. You know, thank you for shit bombing my live feed, but there is no God. That's the whole point. You know, if you can prove empirically, scientifically, that there is a God concretely, feel free to share your work. Okay, we'd love to read your work and do a peer review on it. But until then, keep your bullshit off my feed. Somebody says, let's see. I think it's objective to believe in. I think it's important to believe in happy endings because our objective is to find happiness and self satisfaction. Well, you know what? There's no such thing as a perfect happy ending, and to pursue it, I think, is an exercise in futility. But if we understand that there are going to be pivots, there are going to be transitions, and we learn to make the best of them, that I think is the key to finding happiness. But I kind of like your mindset, but not fully there. Uh, my man Waterson, I love this guy. He says, "How do you know he's loved by God? Can you show me one place where God says He loves anyone?" No, that's true. Only Paul said God is love, and Paul was a crook. So uh, Waterson says, "True, death is the end." And let's see. Well, so I think that that's pretty much it. But my live stream died on Facebook and on YouTube and Instagram. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. But thank you for sitting with me through both of these iterations. Um, be sure to like and subscribe because I got some real good content coming down the pike, and 2023 is going to be really awesome. The big thing is, me personally, what I strive to do is try to put tools in the toolbox of people who share their time with me to make their lives better. And that's my whole objective. And part of that is the whole, getting past the fairy tales of religion. Because if you can get past that, uh, you can find some really good tools that help your life get better. But you have to deal in reality and not in fantasy. So that being said, thank you all for joining. Until the next time, peace and hair grease. We'll holler at you later.
Oh my God. What I'm about to show you, it's just going to change the entire perspective of everything you see in the internet. Check this out. Website is called Fake Details. And literally, watch this. If I go up in here, I can make a Facebook chat, Instagram chat, you name it. So I'm an Instagram chat here. And you can literally put the date, the time, upload a picture of the first person, put the details from the second person. So it almost looked like it's a fucking conversation screenshot from Instagram. You can fucking make a fake conversation, make up some bullshit, and post it on the internet, and people will not have a slightly hint that that's fake. I mean, can you imagine how many lives this would fucking ruin? But thanks to me, now you fucking know. Oh my God. What I'm about to show you.